The colored yarn we picked are going to be your weft threads. They're going to get woven through the warp threads that are going across. You're going to use a needle if you'd like to, and you can use the threaders, that's what I'm doing right now, the post-it notes, to easily get it through your needle. I'll show you that at another time. You're going to measure your thread. You're going to pull it down about 4 fingers lower than the point of your loom. Then you're going to go over the top of the branch and then continue your pattern going under, over, under, over, under, over, till you cannot get up any further. I stopped before the end because I won't be able to pull this very long needle through if I go too far up. So I'll pull my needle through, and then I will just do more of a sewing motion, going straight up and straight down to get through those very tippy top edges. Notice how gentle I'm moving my yarn through to not pull or stretch out those warp threads. Now I'm going to go up and down through those last couple of warp threads to get me all the way to the tippy top. When you get it through, slide your needle off. The other side of the yarn should go around the top of the stick and do the opposite of the yarn next to it. So it should go over the first string, under the next one, over, under. This time I'm not using the needle, I'm just using my fingers. It's whatever you're comfortable with. Notice I'm not using the tippy end of the tail, I'm kind of pushing it under in the middle somewhere. If I use the tippy end, it will fray, which means the yarn will spread apart. Look closely at the pattern that's developing. It's kind of like a checker pattern. When you pull through the last warp thread, your pieces of yarn should end on opposite sides. Now you're ready to push them close together and start your next piece of yarn. Your next piece of yarn you will start in the same way. You pick the direction you want to go in based on your pattern, measure it, leave it hanging off about 4 fingers at the end, and then start with your piece of yarn, making sure it's the opposite of the row next to it. Do not trim any of your yarn. You won't be cutting it at all. We'll figure out what we're going to do with it more towards the end of the weaving. You will continue weaving all of your pieces until you have none left. At that time, you may need to get more, or we may need to cut the pieces we have to create some more pieces of yarn. We will decide that together, but right now you should have 10 pieces to weave with.